Hello, I'm from Czech Republic. I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about living with robots in your life, which are thinking without your control? Can you imagine to have someone at home to help you, to be your friend or something like that?
Hi, Christina. Welcome. Uh, for me, I believe robots could be useful. And when you put it the way you do, thinking without your control, it has me think a little bit about our film. You know, having a drone, because of the character I play in Colonel Bradbury, who is part of the robot deactivation task force. You're imbibing that drone with your thought and feeling and telling it what to do. It's how the robot is programmed. I don't know if I'm a very human person who likes touch and eye contact and, you know, a real voice to speak to and have it speak to me. It would probably have me feel a little peculiar and a little odd to not have a human touch in my own personal life.
Yeah, hi, Christine. Yes, I feel very much the same way. I think it's something that, you know, growing up, people always, when I was growing up, people always talked about robots and how they would be able to help us. And they talked about computers the same way, but I don't think anyone ever really imagined that you would be able to do what you can do on your phone. So I think that there are endless possibilities when it comes to robots. But I agree with Giancarlo that I'm much more of a sort of tactile person and not someone who's very good with technology. So if the robots are there to help us, great. If not, if they become too prominent, then I would think it would be weird.
Yes, for me too.
And do you think that technology skills something in us as humans? Like we are so dependent on phones and mobile and computers and everything. Do you think that we need to do some reboot ourselves?
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, for me personally, I do. I think what it's killed is our attention span. It's killed the ability, you know, to look someone in the eye and give them your whole heart. Because we don't only speak with our voices, we speak with our whole being. We take someone in with our whole being. And when we're in more than one place at one time, i.e. we believe we can multitask, but that multitask is half of us. It's not our complete selves sharing. So I think we lose the connection we have with the humans that are left.
Yes, I agree, and I think that we do have to be very careful, especially with younger people. You saw what they're, I think, doing in Australia, and certain countries are thinking of sort of limiting access to telephones and that kind of technology until a kid is like 16 years old or something. I don't think that's a terrible thing. I think about, you know, taking drives as a kid or being on a train. You had nothing to entertain you except games that you would play in the car and the landscape going past. And I think there's a lot in that. There's a lot to be said for connection in that between people, and a lot to be said for allowing yourself just to think about whatever you want to think about as the landscape changes.
Yeah, it's beautiful, Stanley, because I think when you said that, I remembered some road trips I've had, and I realized what happened in those thinking spaces with my imagination grew.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah. Our imagination now, unfortunately, is in our phones.
Yeah. And we are living in life where the robots are coming to life right now.
Yeah.
So aren't you a little bit afraid? Because this movie made me a little bit scared. What can happen?
Well,
next?
you know, look, I went to the mall with my second daughter about 6 months ago to Century City and saw the Tesla truck just as it was about to come out, and they had a full-blown robot there. It was really, and my daughter and I, Asir, we just looked at it and went, wow, this is our new world. How do we get wrapped around that? This movie didn't make me afraid because of the message of the film. You know, and so my character evolved in a way that out of these conversations with Anthony and Joe, after I read the script, I had courage enough to say, there's a possibility for this Colonel Bradbury, who is now the butcher, to have sort of an epiphany in a small way that I think the movie needs it, and I think you might want to think about it. And we discussed it and all this, and they got it in there, which I thought was really wonderful. Why I'm not afraid? Because these robots who have been imbibed with a human consciousness, and I want to say also, it's who's programming the robot. That makes a difference.
Well, that's the
is it
thing.
Stanley?
Yeah.
Is it you? Is it me? Or is it some oligarch?
Right.
So that who's having that robot take on their own consciousness. But for me, this movie didn't make me frightened. It made me hopeful, because the robots, in a way, have more heart than the humans do. Kind of one of the points of the movie in some ways.
Yeah.
And so to me, I had hope from the film. I wasn't afraid. I also, being the tactical Colonel Bradbury that I am in the film, keep thinking about, well, where do you hit him where it's going to hurt? How do you take down a robot 3 times your size? I understand how you could be afraid. What kind of grenade is going to do that? What kind of consoling words are going to have them not blow you, as a little speck off the face of the earth? We don't know that yet, and hopefully we won't get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The movie didn't make me afraid. It actually gave me hope.
So you think it's suitable for kids?
Oh yeah, I do. I mean, obviously of a certain age, but I think it's very suitable for kids, because I think the message is a really interesting message.
Yeah. So I think I have to wrap it up.
Oh, okay.
So thank you for the answers, and have a nice day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.